Kuzampala, and welcome to her story. Our guest for today is a civil engineer by profession, but at the moment she's the only online gamer from Bhutan who's making a living by playing online. She is an inspiration to many young people. She is Pinda Panda, popularly called as Pinda Panda.
Welcome, guys! This chair, this is where I fought most of the time. I don't know why I said that. This is where all the magic happened.
Thank you so much for taking out your time. I know you're visiting Bhutan for a very short while, but thank you so much. So, how long are you here in Bhutan this time?
Just 6 days. I don't get a long holiday, so.
So let's start off by talking about your parents and where you were born.
I was born here. I'm from Changanka, and yeah, I grew up here. Studied a little bit in India, then back and forth, and why just finally graduated from there.
What about your early education, like your primary and all?
Started off at Sunshine, 2 years there, and then Rinchen Kinfen Primary School, a couple of years there, and then I moved to St. Joseph Convent in Kalimpong. Studied about 2 years there, and after that I came here, studied in Jimanamgil. I changed a lot. Studied in Jimanamgil for 3 years, and then I moved to YHSS. That's where I graduated my high school.
Okay, and then you got a scholarship to
not really. I got a scholarship in down south in India, but I didn't take it. So my parents, they decided to send me in to Malaysia to study. That's where I pursued my degree.
So you have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering?
Yeah, construction management and civil engineering.
And you straight away started working in Malaysia. Did you ever think of coming back? Or?
It took me 3.5 years to graduate, and I started working the next day itself because I realized it was a job. It's very hard getting jobs here, and it's not always easy. And I see a lot of people struggling. My seniors, they were talking about how they were slacking behind because there was no availability on the jobs. So I had to be smart about it. I had to be like, maybe I could take the experience from Malaysia and come back home someday and then work here. So I decided to work there for about a couple of years. And as soon, like I literally graduated today, and tomorrow is the day I started working because I didn't want to waste any time, because I felt like I had to get onto it. And I worked at a construction company, and it was a very small company for 3 months. It was a basic salary. It was like any other job. I had to wake up at 5 a.m., which is very, very painful for me. It was, yeah. And then I got home at like 8 p.m. because I had to take the train 2 hours. It was very far. You can say it was very, very challenging for me. And yeah, but I used to play games a lot, and every time I would come back home, it would be 8 p.m., 9 p.m.-ish. Sometimes I would play Dota, which, yeah, the game that I love, for about 2-3 hours. It would be around 1 a.m., then I would go to bed, wake up at 5. It would be the same routine. Sometimes I would try to stop, and I told myself that I had to stop playing because now it was like I have to get used to the adulthood. But then I thought, why should I stop? Because this is the only thing that keeps me happy. I'm like, my family's away back here in Bhutan, and I was living on my own, and it was very hard. So the game was the only thing that kept me sane, you would say, like happy, and like I was not feeling lonely or something. So and during the weekends I would just play all day and night, and I got used to it. And that's when the idea of YouTube and videos came to me.
Is it like how did you get introduced to games? Like
Games.
And how did you start off? And how young were you when you started off playing games?
I think I was 2 years old, and my grandma, she loved playing Nintendo games like Mario, and there was a game called Super Tank, where you have the small cassettes, you put it in, there's like 200 games or something in there, and yeah, it would get very competitive with her because she is like the solo player who doesn't like to get who doesn't like to lose, and I was this tiny little blob there beside her who used to just, I would always be the second player to her, and she would play so much. My grandfather used to get irritated at us. But yeah, I think she's basically the first ever person who taught me who introduced me to gaming.
Do you think you get that genes from her?
I think so, because even now she's on the phone, she plays a lot. She plays so much games, and it's actually amazing. I mean, it's not competitive games, but she just keeps playing a lot. And she's the one who, I would say, officially introduced me to gaming. And after that, it was just normal gaming. I wasn't too addicted, I would say, but it was like everybody else, kids would love to play games, so that was about it.
Okay, and then I know you loved playing online games and Dota and all. So how come the shift from civil engineering and playing games online?
Like, I have my cousins, my brothers and all, they used to play a game called Warcraft, and I would watch them play, but I would never play, because I thought maybe I wouldn't get interested. Before Dota 2, there was Dota 1, and a lot of kids played here, and for us girls, we were, we would do our own stuff. The boys would play. That was the norm before. I would want to play, but I was like, maybe it's not my thing. But when I got to college, I had plenty of time. The Dota 2, with the new game which just got launched, I played that and I got hooked just like that. Mm-hmm. And I realized how much I was passionate about the game. And yeah, after that, it was nonstop. There was this one time where I played for 3 days straight away. I didn't get no sleep. I only had pizzas, French fries, and my mom would kill me for this, but yeah, that happened.
And you were still fine after 3 days?
Yeah, I was fine. I kept myself hydrated, and I slept for another 2 days, so I wouldn't recommend it, though. It's very, very, very unhealthy.
I know.
Very unhealthy.
Okay. And then you moved on to playing online, so you became a professional gamer. So how did that happen? How did the whole journey start?
Not really like a professional gamer. I would just say very addictive. Because the classes were not that heavy. Even though the classes were heavy, I was somehow managed. My mom never disapproved of me gaming. She would always be like, balance, like you can do whatever you want, but always know it's the balance to the. So I would keep studies afloat as well, meanwhile maintaining gaming too at the same time. And after it's been like 6 years since I've been playing this game, and after college I couldn't stop playing at all. I was very hooked onto the game, but once I started working, it was lesser because I didn't get much time. And in this construction, the company that I told you about, I was working there for about 3 months, and I already started doing like YouTube videos and Facebook videos. I started off with Facebook while I was working. That's when I started, right after college. I was like, I could do it. I had very little time, but I was like, now I'm a person, I'm like, now is the time, I have to grab it while it's hot or something. And I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos throughout my studies and all that, and I just thought to myself, these guys, these famous YouTubers, they started off as a nobody. They started off with 1 subscriber, with 1 or a couple of people watching them, and now they grew up, like they grew their audience, they're huge. And I'm like, if they can do it, why not us? Like, why not the people who are watching them? And I'm like, I should start as well, because I'm a person like who's very talkative, and I like recording, although it gets very cringy when you're recording yourself, and then, but I didn't mind it. So I started off with I was like, okay, I play this game. I don't think there are many people who make videos on this game. Like, there were other people who would make jokes about it, but there was nobody, not even like men who made live videos on those games. So I was like, I could try. I'm like, even if it fails, it doesn't matter. Like, I should try. So I made this Mom versus Dota video, which was the first ever video I made on Facebook. I had no followers on Facebook. I had like my friends, my family's friends. You know how it goes when you ask them to like your page. So I made this first video. I uploaded on it. It was normal. I got like a few hundred views. Then after precisely 4 days, I just checked my phone, and there was notifications, was like, it was blowing up. I had like 999. I was like, must be a glitch or something. Then I opened it up. It garnered about 50,000 views. I was like, what's happening? And people wanted me to make more. And after some time, it got like 4 million views. I was shocked at how much attention it got. I was like, okay, I gotta do it. Weekends was the only time I could make videos. After that, I make small videos, and that's how I started off as Pinda Panda.
You left your job to play.
Yes, I did.
Do you regret your decision?
Oh no, that was the best decision I've ever made. The resignation letter, you should have seen my face. I was like happily typing, and I'm like, I'm quitting, and thank you for everything, and bye-bye. Here you go, letter. It was awesome. Like,
did you have to sit for an interview to?
Oh, I had to do an audition for EGG Network. That's the gaming channel in Malaysia, and no, Southeast Asia, the first gaming channel. I had to do I had to go for an audition, and I was working, so I had to take a leave, and I was like, I could try. I mean, I should just try, and I didn't expect to get it at all. I went in there, there were like 200 other candidates. I'm like, oh yeah, no way I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm a foreigner, and they wouldn't take a foreigner, I thought. The audition went horribly. It was horrible. It was so horrible. I stuttered. They asked me to do there were like 3 judges, and they asked me to do some casting, commentating on games. Yeah, I stuttered. I don't feel like recapping it, but let's just say it was a disaster. But before I left, I was like, I'm not gonna give up easily. I asked them to. I was like, can you please check my channel? Like, I have a YouTube channel, I have a Facebook channel, I have videos there. Maybe that would somehow help me with this job. And they were like, there was this one judge. He was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And after 3 days, I get this call, and they're like, so shall we talk about salary and contract? I'm like, who's this? And they're like, oh, you don't remember you came for an audition? I was like shocked. You have no idea. That moment I'll never forget it. It was, I couldn't explain it. Feelings were rushing over. I got red. I couldn't speak on the phone, but I was cool. I was like, oh yeah, okay, fine, sure, whatever. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, that's about it.
And is it tough being a woman while with online games and all that? Because it's a male-dominated.
It is a super male-dominated community. And that's a very tricky question, actually. It's like a 50-50 situation. It is hard for female gamers to be professionals because they aren't treated equally. But most people now that we know that there are so many female gamers, everybody's trying to level up, and people, organizations, everybody's trying to push female gamers, which is a really great improvement. But I would still say there is a lot of challenges because in everything, like not just esports, in sports, literally in every aspect of like jobs and everything is always a challenge for female. So it's the same kind of situation, but I think we do have some kind of upper hand. Like for me, I think one of the reasons I grew fast is because I was a female as well, because they haven't seen a female doing those videos. And because I was a female, I think I got like a little boost out of that. So it's kind of like a 50-50 situation, but it is a huge struggle still.
I've been wanting to ask you, so Pinda Panda, so did you come up with the name yourself, or?
And my mom, when she gets angry, when we don't go for our food, she would call me like, yeah, when she calls my name Panda, that's when I know she's angry. So yeah, because of her and because my first name is Pinda, I was like, yeah, Pinda Panda. It was not a big deal. It was just something that came along.
Oh, okay. And you also have a merchandise
yes.
series of shirts and sweatshirts and all that. So how did all that happen?
There's a couple of kids in Trashigong. The sole objective of the merchandise was to give those profits to the needy ones. And like my aunt, my friends, we were talking about how I could help them, and they were like, dude, you're a little popular, so you could probably have your merchandise on your own. And I'm like, it's a lot of work, but maybe I could do it. So I didn't do a lot. I did about 2,000 shirts and all together, and they sold very fast. I was actually, but the workload is like, I was doing everything on my own, so it was way too much. But yeah, whatever I got, so I thought the best way to help those kids and would be like to give all the profits from the merchandise to them. So that's what I did. I didn't make a second merchandise. That was my first batch ever.
So you're not going to make any?
Yeah, there's a new project coming up. The merchandise people who are doing in Malaysia, the Coca-Cola. They have a group of people who do the merchandise. So they approached me recently. We're launching my merchandise and so that's in talks right now. So I'm planning to give my profits from there to the kids as well. But this time they do all the shipping, everything. The last time I was doing everything on my own, so it was difficult. So I could not continue after that.
So you had to spend for everything?
Yeah, exactly. I had to look at the designs, I had to get the shirts myself, I had to test it out, I had to go to the shop myself. And it was nice. It was a lot of kids who got them and they were very happy. And so somehow made me feel like I could achieve two goals at the same time, give the money to them, to the other kids, and make the other kids happy as well. So it was kind of a balance, which was really nice.
Would you tell us how much were you able to donate to the children in the East?
It was a mixture actually. We donated because we didn't donate money, we got them like jackets and everything because that was recommended by the thing. So I took some art, actually it's my manager who's she keeps track of how much we made and how much she spent there. Yeah.
I know you have your family away from Malaysia.
Yeah.
You're from Bhutan. So how often do you visit Bhutan?
I try my best to visit as often as possible because as you grow older, you realize that your parents, your grandparents grow older as well. They're getting even older. So I come about 2, 3, 4 times at the max in a year. I try my best to do more than that because I feel like you can make money anywhere, but time is something you can't buy.
You can never
yeah.
buy.
So.
What are a few things that you like to do when you're back home?
Oh, food. First thing is my grandmother's food. She makes me gyoza, that's my favorite. And after that, I go berserk in town. I ask my friends what's good here. They're like, oh, this cafe is new, that cafe is new. I try out everything and see how it's up.
So you live alone in Malaysia. Do you even
Yes, I do know how to cook, but I do not get the time at all. So I have to order most of the times, which is very unhealthy, but I do try to cook. But my profession, it takes a lot of time.
So at the moment, you're still an online gamer.
Yes.
Are you still hosting the...
No, I actually left. I worked at EGG for 2 years and I left just last year in August. Our contract was for another 3 years, but I wanted to leave because I was doing so much better on my own. So I decided to resign from the job and be my independent self.
And there are so many young girls who look up to you as an inspiration. What do you think are some qualities that an online gamer needs? Other than the unhealthy habits.
Unhealthy habits, yes. That's something you don't want to get used to. I think you should just, first and foremost, if you force it, it wouldn't come naturally. You have to find your passion, not just gaming, in everything you do. If you don't, it's always good to try, but once you try and if you feel like it's not meant for you, then you should not push it, is what I believe. And if you really want to be an online gamer, I think what you have to do is you have to dedicate a lot of time in gaming, because gaming is also a profession now. It's actually one of the highest paying profession, I believe, esports. It's growing so much, and so just playing the game wouldn't cut, because millions of people are playing, but what makes you special, you have to figure that out on your own. I couldn't help with that as well, because the only person who knows yourself better than anyone it's you. So yeah, I would just ask them to be their self first, and then. And
as a child, when you were growing up, did you ever think that you were going to be a professional online
No,
gamer?
never. Even now, I'm like, how did I land up here? What happened? And people, I mean, my grandma, my mom they would always say, you're gonna do good someday, But I'm like, I always thought, when they said good, I'd be doing a normal job in something. But yeah, it's still a shock for me that, and like how much I've done and how far I've come. Especially given the fact that I was doing that job that I didn't like so much. So it's incredible.
So, what are your future plans now?
My future plans, well, it's very vague. I don't think about the future too much because I'm like, I could die anytime. I'm like, anything could happen. So I would rather focus on the present. I don't think about saving too much as well because, like I said, I'm a person who who really believes in living in the present. So I try to focus more on what I'm doing right now. Future, I'm like, whatever happens, it'll happen. I'll tackle it. I feel like people should be smart rather than hardworking, especially right now in this era.
Do you plan on settling down someday?
Of course, like there's no place like home. Every time I come back home, I'm like, I just want to be here. I don't want to leave. But the internet is so bad. It makes me want to cry. I tried playing day before. It was very hard. It was very hard. Even given with the Wi-Fi as well, it was very bad. So I'm just praying that the Wi-Fi gets better, internet gets better, and that's when I can actually promote esports in Bhutan as well. Like esports has so many jobs if you want, but internet plays a huge role. Like one of my jobs right now is Facebook is paying me to stream on Facebook, and I could push Facebook to in this region as well, in Bhutan as well. And there are so many gamers out there, young people who are playing, and they could earn just by playing games. But the internet is really, really sad.
Children and marriage, what are your comments on that?
Another 10 years, I don't know.
Lastly, any message for our viewers who's watching?
Of course,
who are watching this?
My message would be that everything is very challenging, but if you don't try, you would never know what could have been. So it's always better to try and fail than not try at all.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Just before we wind up, let's check out what are Pinda Panda's 5 favorites and 5 facts about her.
My favorite color, black, white, and gray. The Lion King, always. Halo by Beyonce. Gyodatsi by my grandmother. Anything written by Enid Blyton. He's a kid's author, but he's the one who gave me a lot of inspiration during my childhood days. I eat a lot of potatoes. It's actually, people say it's very unhealthy. I have potatoes for breakfast, potatoes for lunch, and potatoes for night. I feel like it completes my life somehow. Kewwa is something that was meant for me, I believe. Well, this is gonna be embarrassing. That's not embarrassing, I fart a lot. Yeah, it's something natural, and over the years, I've grown very comfortable with farting. It's very, very comfortable. I get sad very easily when I see animals. I turned vegetarian for 4 years now because of animal slaughter. So it's very easy for me to, like, if I see a dog just passing by, I have to stop and be like, hey, good morning, man. Then I drive off. I love my grandmother so much that I feel like if something happens to her, I feel like I couldn't exist. Yeah, she's my #1 rock. I'm very confident in a lot of things that I do. I do mistakes, but I do them very confidently. And then I realize it later. Would you rather be free or be totally safe? I would rather be free. Because like being safe is a smart choice, but being free is a choice that not many people have. And I'd rather have the freedom to do what I want and do it than be safe and do nothing at all. Would you rather be held in high regard by your parents or by your friends? I want to say both, but I would slightly lean a little towards my family, because what my family thinks of me is the most important thing for me, rather than anybody else in the world. Like, I couldn't give a damn about, before I would as a kid, but now after so much experience and everything, I've learned that family is what matters, and how they think of you is what shapes you into a person. And me as a person right now, it's all because of my family. Would you rather have 3 kids or no money, or no kids with $3 million? I would have no kids with $3 million, because I have a very good reason. Because I have this feeling that I want to adopt as well. And the reason why I would choose no kids with $3 million, because with that money I could help the other kids, which is they need it more. Like, you know, I'm a drop in the ocean, where even if I didn't have kids, it wouldn't make a huge difference, I guess, other than for my family, but I'm good with it. So I'd rather have the money and help others. Okay, would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told? I would rather lose the ability to lie. Definitely that. You know, I wouldn't like to believe something that isn't true. I would say I'm very cancerous. When I say cancerous, gamers would understand that. I curse a lot in the game, so that's one. I am, it's supposed to be a good thing. I'm a little too empathetic. People think it's a good quality, but for me it's I'm a little too empathetic, which kind of gets into my head sometimes. I'm a perfectionist. That's not a very good quality, but when I do something, when I work, I have to make sure that it's perfect. It's like, even when especially in my videos, I have to rewatch it like 100 times, and then I have to see like if it's perfect or not. So yeah, love dancing. I've always loved dancing. And another thing would be designing somehow, like not shirts and all that, but designing, trying to design graphics in game, which is developing right now, but it's not a big thing.